Shall not be infringed. All right, that's your hit or miss episode music for this morning. So for this evening. I'm not Smeggy, so I can't do this whole Smeggy thing. I wish, I recorded the whole drums, but, that's what you get. He might come in and, do a random, music interlude, but other than that, there you go. Welcome to Hit or Miss. I'm Night Strike. I'll introduce my panel. I've got Carlos from the great state of Arizona.
Thank you, senor, for this kind invitation to be on your podcast today, sir.
Muy bien, muy bien. And then we got Rick. What's going on, Rick?
Hey, thanks for inviting me. Check out my channel, Rick's Life as I See It, on Saturdays at 3 p.m.
Absolutely. I haven't been able to make the past couple ones because I've been out either shooting in the backyard with family and friends, or I've been just busy the past couple weekends. So sorry about that, Rick.
That's okay.
So. And then last but not least, we got Travis P11.
Hey, man, what's up? Appreciate the invite. Guys, as usual, check out my channel on gunchannels.com. We got Caliber Corner, and then also you can check out my channel on YouTube, Travis P11. Lots of good stuff going on over there, so check it out. Oh, I'm also on VidMe, Travis P11.
All right, awesome. So tonight, at one hand, I wanted to talk about some things, but I've looked all over the news, and not much is coming out of the news other than just literally an utter garbage. I mean, we've got the garbage from the whole thing that happened in Nevada. I'm not going to say where in particular, but we all know what I'm talking about. And everybody's gone on and on about that. I really don't want to talk about it, but we're going to go and touch on a subject that correlates with it. So it's better, but at the same time, I don't want to talk about it. But we're doing it anyways because fuck it, it's hit or miss. But other than that, I'm really disappointed in our government. But I shouldn't have had any faith in our government in the first place. So there you go. All right, so Carlos, what are we talking about tonight? You want to bring up a topic?
Yeah,
bring up a topic.
I guess I'll do the kind of lay the groundwork here. All right, so I think everybody can kind of agree that, most of us, we conceal carry, and at some point we thought if we're at a movie theater, a school,
I'm scheduled to go and get the course. I just haven't set the date yet, but I'm going to get the course.
You don't even have to carry the gun to do the mental game, right? You don't even have to. You can be mentally prepared without having the gun in your hand. And so that's the question here today is, we've mentally prepared, and we've seen previous mass shootings in malls and movie theaters and schools, and I'm sure we've all thought, okay, you know what? Like if there was a mass shooting here right now, I've got my concealed carry, or if you're getting that thought, and you go, okay, if there was the bad guy right there, I could shoot that fucker in the face, and you know what? Like I'd take care of business, or at least I'd give people a fighting chance. But in this case, in Las Vegas, I don't think that was an option. The guy's 300 yards away or 200 yards, on the exact yardage, and he's 30-something stories high. There's no way in hell your handgun's going to make it. Like, not at all. Like, that thing's not getting close. And if it is, you're just hitting random rooms around the building. You're not even getting close to shooting that guy. So previously in the past, I've personally been against truck guns because I always thought along the lines of, well, if it's a mass shooting in a mall or a movie theater, I'm not going to leave the room, go get my rifle, and come back. That's just stupid. I'm going to pull out my handgun and take care of it. But now we have a situation that has given us a scenario where the guy's out of range for your handgun. Leave the room, go get my rifle, and come back. That's just
Rick. Turn the video off.
Going to take care of it. But now we have a situation. I got him. There we go. And so, the scenario now is that, okay, you have a guy, he's basically in a sniper's hide, and the guy shot for a long time. I mean, like more than half an hour, right? It was closer to an hour before they could get up to the room and breach and make entry, and he killed himself. So now the point is, okay, what can we do to prepare now? So that's the kind of thing I want to discuss tonight in terms of, do we carry a truck gun? What kind of truck gun? How is it equipped out? Is that a viable option, or are you going to get yourself shot because people are going to think you're the mass shooter, as Travis pointed out. So we can kind of game this out, and we can think, what could we have done to prepare? And maybe there's not a good option at this point. Maybe we got to think about it more, but I kind of wanted to discuss that and see everybody's opinion on the matter and get people to weigh in. That's my intro. That's my intro. It's long-winded, but let's go for it.
All right, so let's get into this. So basically, what kind of a distance are we looking at then? Let's break it down even further. What kind of distance are we going to need in this kind of situation?
Okay, well, I think that's going to be, and again, this comes down to everybody needs to be about their world, and they need to lay it out. But in this case, let's go with this scenario. Let's say, 300 yards and unknown, out to 300-400 yards and some sort of elevated target. The worst case scenario, he's up in a hide and he's sniping people. And I was mentioning before we started the chat, this isn't the first time this has happened in American history. People are acting like it is. But in '66, sniper in the bell tower in Texas. I think it was '66, right? Sniper in the bell tower in Texas. What happened?
Even before, more immediate. Let's talk about the DC sniper.
Exactly, that's another good one. I mean, those guys were really tricky too. So,
the thing is, I don't want to touch on the fact on this guy, make him famous or anything, but I just love how people. Well, no, it's more hate, but I hate how people are acting like this shit is new. Well, it is new in the immediate sense, but they're acting like somebody losing control and just lashing out on everyone with some sort of weapon is new. Like, it's never happened in the history of society since we had society. And the fact is, it has happened before. Anyways, as far as a gun, all right, I'm gonna throw one out there. You guys can yell at me, laugh at me, and whatnot, but I like this one for what it is and what it can do. I know it's not from a great brand, but I look at it being it can take standard 30-round magazines. It can take, smaller magazines. It can fold. I'm thinking maybe something like the Kel-Tec SU-16, because it's literally, it's a 223 rifle that you can literally fold in half. Okay. And that might be good for a truck gun because you got the advantage of it. If you unfold the stock, it becomes a full-length rifle. You can put optics on it because it has a rail, or you can use the sight.
So,
but they were specifically speaking in a truck gun sense. And, well, I know Matt has said before that his sub 2000 would be a good truck gun. It's not, because it's a pistol caliber. I'm talking a straight out rifle caliber, where the SU-16 is also you can use 5.56 in it. So you can use the standard AR magazines with it. Hell, I think you can even use the more higher capacity magazines with it too. So, like, even the drums. So that's what I'm going to throw out there. What do you guys think?
I actually think that's a really, really good option because, like you said, it's 5.56, but it's still in that same size factor as like the Kel-Tec Sub 2000. I think that's really a good option because, one of the things that I've been thinking is, at that range, it's also the fact that you can put that scope on it. I like a lot because at that range, I don't have the eyes to make a long shot without magnification.
Sure. But people don't know what I'm talking about, or you're making fun of me or whatnot. That's fine. You make fun of me. But this is what the rifle looks like collapsed, okay? It doesn't look like much, okay? But this is what it looks like when you unfold the stock. So it's got a rail on top. It takes standard capacity AR-15 mags. It'll probably take drum mags just fine, too. Yeah, I know a little. It's mostly polymer with metal here and there. But as far as a truck gun, the fact that you can literally fold it in half, look at that.
Some of them, the handguard becomes a bipod, right? Like, can't you pop those down on some of them?
Yes, there is one point where you can get the bipod option. So as a truck gun, this might be something to look at. I know you don't probably want to try and save your life with it, but if you have to use something, this might be an option, just as like, you know, a secondary. I mean, granted, I know a lot of them in chat are saying maybe some sort of pistol, rifle caliber pistols. That also might be an option too. But that would be my first recommendation. If you guys have any specific recommendations, please just throw them out there.
I would say go with a piston-driven AR SBR with a collapsible stock, like one of those ones that pushes in completely up against the back of the AR. If you really want to, you know, have a compact but heavy-duty grade rifle that's gonna do what you want it to do. I'm almost thinking like a SIG M516 SBR with a collapsible stock.
And Sean Callahan out there is asking, how small is this how fucking small is this theoretical truck? I don't know. Ask Carlos. Cough, cough.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think even in a truck like a Ford Ranger or something like that, right? I mean, if you slide it behind the seat or under a seat, the width of the vehicle. So you can actually get a pretty big gun into a small vehicle. You know, it's kind of dependent on how much you want it to be, you know, how much other shit you want in there. But if you want to throw it behind your seat or something, you think that can fit a lot behind the seat of a truck. I don't think that I'm not going to have like a, you know, a motorcycle carrying a full length rifle, but that's dependent on your vehicle for sure. But I think even like a Ford Ranger or something, you could fit some decent shit in.
Okay, so
if
Travis,
you have like
what gun would you recommend?
SIG M516 SBR with collapsible stock. It's expensive. It's going to be crazy, but if you want for an SHTF situation or a mass shooter situation, you got to defend yourself, whatever. I mean, I'm just saying that, and you don't want something that's going to take up a lot of room in the vehicle. You want something that's going to be discreet and easy to hide. You can throw that thing in a duffel bag and put it in your back of your cab, your vehicle, or store it however you're supposed to store it in the state where you live, but it won't take up a lot of room. I like the pistol AR. I have one, but it's only about 4 or 5 inches shorter than a regular carbine length AR-15 with the stock fully collapsed. So you're not really saving a lot on space. And I've got that stabilizing fin pushed in pretty close. I mean, I've got it down to like my length of pull is about 12.5 inches.
Do you have a braced pistol? So in this scenario, we're saying we're trying to reach out. This isn't just because we want something that kills better, but we also need to reach out. So I don't have one. I don't have the experience. But do you think you can be stable enough to make a good shot with a pistol brace?
If I shoulder it, of course.
All right.
Oh, absolutely, dude. It's not comfortable, but you can do it. You can easily, if you pull that length to pull out to about 13.5 inches is what you're not supposed to exceed with your pistol AR. If you go 13 inches for your length to pull, you push that fin all the way back. If you shoulder it, it will be comfortable. I'm not going to say I did. I'm just saying I'm pretty sure it would be.
And you think that the stock itself is stable enough to make good shots?
Oh yes, yeah. That shockwave fin, the shockwave blade that I have, it's a hard piece of plastic. It's basically the same kind of rigidity as a MOE stock, but without the rubber butt pad on it, which you're not allowed to put on there because if you do, then you're getting into the gray area of converting your pistol to an SBR.
Yeah. This Ohio 45 ACP. Out on the chat, went and sent a link in the chat on the Good Channel side. This is what it looks like with the bipod stock and just the full stock that folds. This is what it looks like. So that's the configuration. Can you see that all right?
You know, Night Striker, that's a good idea. If you had to return fire and you wanted to be stable and you needed to throw some shots out to 400 yards, 500 yards,
by the way,
that would be the way to do it, man.
I'd also like to mention, if you see this little dip right here in the stock, that's where you can actually store a smaller capacity magazine,
like a 20-round steel,
like not like a 20-round or even a 10-round.
10, yeah. Well, hey, it's better than nothing, man.
Remember, you don't. This being a truck gun, you don't necessarily have to have 30 rounds, but you can. I mean, you know, shit, just put a side set on that, put a 30-round mag in there. You're good. You're good. But you don't absolutely have to. And I'm not trying to be a proponent for lower capacity. No. I'm just saying, this is a what if scenario. So this this is one
Can we talk about the capacity then? I mean, I think for a truck gun, you know, in this scenario we're talking, right? And obviously we all want as many bullets as we can have. But in this scenario, do we think that's the key? I don't want to direct the conversation too much. And let's take a side trip down memory lane. Let's talk about 66. I brought this up before. You know, in I believe it was 66, and someone can look it up and correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, that guy went up in the bell tower in Texas. I don't need to say his name either because he's an asshole just like this fucker. He went up in the bell tower in Texas, and he started sniping people. And I think it was Texas A&M campus. And, I mean, people didn't see it coming. It was the same scenario. People didn't see it coming. People came out of classrooms and buildings. And they don't know what's going on. This guy's, you know, half a mile away with basically a hunting rifle.
Read the side check, guys.
Yep. And so he's making these long shots. People don't even know where to hide. They don't really know what's coming from at first. It's a very similar scenario at its face. And, you know, the good guys, you know, this was back in the 60s, and the good old boys had all their rifles in their trucks. And a lot of those were bolt-action rifles or lever-action rifles. But they were able to make a difference by going out and just keeping him pinned down. They basically, instead of him having a 360-degree view, you know, he had, like, little ports he could shoot out of and the railing. So do we think that it's a capacity thing or just getting good shots on target? What would we rather?
No, you only need one bot. You only need one round to end it.
Well, or, I mean, do we need to end it, or do we need to keep the, you know, fire suppression so that he doesn't have free reign, like in Las Vegas?
Suppressive fire is all about round count.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be at that point. Yeah, definitely. But I'm saying if you can't connect and you're having trouble connecting, you know you can't make the shot, but you can suppress him. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, I think it's kind of a talking point, which is, you know, what would we aim for? Would we be aiming to just keep his head down and keep him from shooting more people? Or would it be to, you know, to end it, you know, blow the brains out and get that guy done? What do you guys think would be the better scenario? I mean, or more likely? Let's say more likely.
From the time that the guy started shooting in Vegas to the time that he killed himself when the SWAT rushed in the room, what was it, 10 minutes?
10 minutes. An hour, and it was 73 minutes.
Oh, from start to finish, it was 73.
I thought it was like 73 minutes.
I didn't realize that. Oh man, I thought it was a lot shorter.
From the time the police first got the report,
from
the time the police first got the report to the time they broke into the room, it was 73 minutes.
Jesus,
that's a lot of stuff going to happen in an hour. That's pretty bad. That's really bad.
That's where, you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, don't get your rifle. Your police are going to get confused, whoever." But I mean, this guy had free reign for an hour.
Yep.
Right? What are you supposed to do in an hour? You know?
Well, there's nothing you can do in that particular situation, because very few people are going to have, even if you're concealed carrying out there, which I'm sure there was alcohol being served, so that might have maybe not even allowed weapons in that area. But even if you're around that, you're not going to start shooting at a hotel without knowing exactly where he is, especially with a handgun.
Oh, yeah.
You know, here's the deal.
So there's nothing you could do in that situation.
If you knew where he was, you saw the shots, you saw the broken glass, you had 73 minutes. Could somebody have gotten closer and fired back? Could you have gotten within 100 yards, got behind a tree, and started shooting back at him?
Probably.
Maybe, but the guy still got.
If you were willing to go up against an automatic rifle,
that's the thing too. I don't think that you would have won. I think you just would have gotten yourself killed in the situation.
Yeah. I think you go high.
And I've been to
no, I agree. Because of the rounds. Oh yeah. Have they officially said what his gun was yet?
Yeah. So there's been pictures.
I've heard so many different stories now.
AR-15, at least what I've seen, like actual pictures, so I can actually say what it was he had an AR-15 with the slide fire or a bumski or something, and then it looked like he had a Daniel Defense M5 308, the bipod.
All right.
So
he actually did shoot a hotel security guard before they broke in on him.
Shot him in the leg or something like that, didn't he?
Yeah. And so the question was not whether the venue was a gun-free zone. The question is that the hotel was a gun-free zone.
Well, no, that's not 100. Well, I mean, that's not 100%. So we can just briefly, for people who don't know, because I live in Arizona, so I have knowledge of Nevada gun laws and the Strip. So You can carry, you know, they have pretty decent reciprocity. It's kind of funky because it's not like on a state level. The county of actual Clark County actually has specific reciprocity. And so Clark County will allow a lot of concealed carry permits. You can carry on the strip. The casinos are like any other private venue. They're like any other movie theater or private hotel. They're a private, privately owned land. And
That's where I was coming from.
So they can post signs if they want to.
But they're not legally binding or anything. It's like,
right.
You know, a lot of people, you go up to your hotel room, you put your gun on the nightstand, who's ever going to know? And if they see you maybe on the gambling floor, they'll say something, but most of the time, no one bothers. So I'm sure there could have been people there with guns. Let's get that out there. It's not like Las Vegas. The whole strip is a giant gun-free zone in reality.
No, I was more talking about the venue, the concert venue.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Don't conflate what I was saying. Mandalay Bay itself is posted no gun-free zone.
Right, but he just wasn't in the concert venue. I just want to put that out there, right? He was basically at an intersection, right? The street right there is an intersection of where
the point he was in a hotel and he was hundreds of yards away from the venue.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody concealed carrying at the venue. They would have probably shot other people in the hotel long before they ever hit that guy.
Oh yeah, that's the thing too. So
that's my point. So the people that were saying, "Oh, the concert venue was a gun-free zone," that doesn't have anything to do with it.
That doesn't have any. When we started that way, you know, I kind of laid out the scenario was obviously my handgun is not going to reach 300 yards, and if it is, I'm just shooting the broadside of a building. I don't know if I'm in room 33 or floor 31 or 5 rooms to the right or to the left. Who knows where the hell you're going to shoot? You know?
All right. So let's look in some of the chat out on the gun channel side. Ohio 45 ACP is saying the shooter is lobbing rounds into a bullpen with 20,000 people jammed into it with limited egress. You're looking for a muzzle flash, no judge of wind, low light probably, into a blacked out room.
Yeah.
Tough shot to make and not hit the adjacent rooms and guests. And not get shot by approaching police. That is a good point.
That's true. This was, you know, for a lot of scenarios, this is a no-win. This Kobayashi Maru of active shooters.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying is in this specific instance, the only thing that you can do is seek, cover, be safe, and survive. And if I'm not mistaken, did he not have video cameras in the hallway or something that kind of alerted him when they were coming to breach the door also?
Yeah, that's
so he knew they were coming. Yeah, I know it's unconfirmed, but from what I understand, if it is true, then he was waiting for someone to show up and he was never going to get taken alive for sure. If that's true.
This is someone with, and I hate to use this term because it's a set of movies, but this is somebody with a death wish.
Well, what's that term? Suicide by cop? Well, he didn't do suicide by cop, but that's what it would have come down to.
By self.
Yeah, but that's what it would have come down to. He wasn't walking out of that hotel ever.
But a lot of these people, the thing is, they don't have the cojones to just put the gun to the head and pull the trigger. Yeah. And if they do something horrendous like this, they have no choice because it's pretty much either going to be them, either the cops are going to do it or they're going to do it.
Yeah, they're not arresting that fool. They're not arresting him.
Yeah, I'm just going to put this out to the universe, and I don't mean anybody particularly listening to this chat because I know we're all like-minded individuals, but just anybody out in the world who's thinking about doing this, can you just save us all the time and just kill yourself now? Thank you. Bye.
Wow.
There you go.
Let's just skip you shooting people and get you straight to blowing your own brains out, right?
Okay.
Let's get the middle part and get to the end part. If you're
and you can call the cops and you can have a hotel room and you can call the media and all that. Just take yourself out first.
Okay, time out. I have to put the obligatory disclaimer. The views of our panelists are their own opinions and are not the opinions or views of Hit Night Strike, Specky Free.
I don't advocate suicide.
I just need to get that disclaimer out there.
Gunchannels.com.
Or gunchannels.com.
I don't advocate suicide. I don't advocate suicide. I'm just saying, if this is what you were going to do, if anybody was out there thinking, that sounds like a good idea, let's just skip the middle part. Just skip the middle.
I would have to assume that if someone's thinking about doing that, they wouldn't be watching our shows.
No, I know. And I said I assume.
well, let's say after you've already seeking psychiatric aid.
Yeah.
And it's failed, then go ahead.
Yeah, get help. Get help first. That's true.
Get some help. Talk to somebody for God's sake.
All right, so let's get back into this because we've gone off track a little bit. So
you think?
Okay, yeah. So Rick, what kind of rifle would you think about using as a truck gun for a situation to combat this kind of scenario?
Well, to be quite honest with you, as you know, I'm not into rifles. Well, that's a tough one, but I like that one you showed. I was trying to look that up.
Okay. Ghost, what do you think?
What was the question?
Okay, the question is, in a situation, a scenario where you have that, instead of using like a carbine with with pistol caliber, what kind of rifle or would you look at using as a truck gun to try and combat somebody like that?
A rifle for a truck gun? I mean, I would go one of two ways. I'd either go a shotgun or probably an SBR.
Okay.
I think an SBR would be something that would be nice because it's not going to be as bulky. But an SBR or I even go with maybe a 9mm carbine. I've got a Beretta CX4 that I think would be a great one.
Okay, but in this scenario, do you think the 9mm carbine will be able to reach out and get fire suppression on this guy?
I don't think he was worried about suppression. He was gonna unload as many rounds as he could. Now you're talking about if you're on the street level shooting at the 32nd floor, then I'm gonna have to go with an AR or AK-47. I mean, that's what you're gonna have to do.
No,
something that's got the power to go up there. I mean, I'm just talking about if you say truck gun, I'm not going to carry an AK or AR in my truck. Probably I'm going to carry something that's a little more sensible. That's just me.
Maybe we expand the scenario.
No medium weight military guns.
Okay, so
let's just hold on, Nice. Let's just expand the scenario. We don't have to necessarily be confined to this very specific scenario. Let's just say someone taking shots from high and far away. Let's just say that. Not necessarily this scenario. Okay. Anyway.
Okay, and all I'm going to say is I'm not trying to start an argument by any means, but I want to say this is, how many people do you know on a daily basis that are going to be carrying around an AR or AK-47 with them or in a truck? I mean, most people in a truck guns aren't carrying ARs or AKs. They're carrying something like a shotgun, maybe a bolt gun. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they might carry a bolt gun. But a shotgun or SBR or something like that is probably what people will be carrying. I've never seen anybody walk down the road with an AK or AR. That's just me,
Yeah, that's true. I think.
I travel with an AR pistol. I mean,
an AR pistol is a little bit different though than a full size AR. I mean, even if you have a brace on there, it's still different.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that I do carry that. I mean, not carry, but that's what I have as a truck gun.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think the whole reason I wanted to bring this up tonight was I was just really struck by the fact that it took them over an hour to get there, right? And I just think that and like I started out, I'm not a big advocate of the truck gun, so I don't think running out, going back, and getting back into this shit is always the best idea. But in this scenario, this guy having an hour of free reign, I think that's just how do we prevent that, right? I mean, that's the thing that struck me the most.
You don't. Kobayashi Maru.
That's right.
Here's the thing. So it took an hour for first responders to get there, right?
73 minutes.
Not first responders. It took an hour for SWAT.
For SWAT to get to breach the door.
Room.
Yeah, to breach the door.
This further enforces the reason why we should not have more restrictions on guns. We should have less, because as I've stated before in past hit or miss episodes, the issue is in any sort of situation where you're getting shot at by a criminal or a crazy person, doesn't matter what they are. If they're shooting at people, they're not good people. Okay? The point is that you literally have seconds, possibly minutes to react. 1. 2, law enforcement, doesn't matter SWAT or whatever they are, they're not going to get there for at least anywhere in between 10 minutes to an hour or more. So you cannot depend on them to be everywhere. They do not have the manpower to be everywhere, to watch everything, to prevent anything. They're not there to prevent crime from happening. They're there to, to pick up the pieces after a crime has been committed and find the culprits. That's what they're there for. So we need to push the fact that everyone should carry, that everyone should be able to have a gun. Everyone should be able to, and I know I'm going a step further here, should be able to have, even open carry, because, unless we're all carrying, people who go out and, do this kind of shit, if they know that everyone else is carrying, they might not want to go out and shoot people. Just saying. Because, before they get one shot off, if somebody sees them with a rifle, he's down for the count.
Well, I sympathize with what you're saying, but I also agree with Yankee's comment the other night that, every once in a while you run into the Kobayashi Maru, the no-win situation. And, if somebody at that place had maybe had a 30-06 or a 308 bolt gun with a 3x12 on it, he might have been able to get a little suppressive fire going. But odds of that are pretty freaking slight.
And extremely proficient with that rifle, mind you. Not just casual.
Anybody here know what the bullet drop on a 30-06 is at 400 yards at an angle of like 40 degrees? I sure the fuck don't.
Hell no.
A lot.
I'm not just going to start shooting out people's windows for ha-has.
Right.
The only chance, and I think anybody would have had being anywhere around that stadium with taking out this guy, you're talking magnum caliber, period. I mean, there's that angle that far away. There's just, I've shot elevated both ways before.
Caliber. That's what I'm saying, not 6 or a 308. It's got to be something with a heavy bullet with some serious carrying power. But you would have been better off.
Brought up, go ahead. Sorry.
You would have been better off if there was somebody in the hotel. I mean, there are rooms above him, across from him, on the sides of him. Somebody hears automatic gunfire. Yeah, I mean, granted, it takes a pretty salty guy to say, I think I'm going to walk over there and knock on a door. But it really, I think the people that needed to have the guns were the people in the hotel, not the people on the ground 400 yards away.
Absolutely. I mean, and like I said, in this specific instance, there was nothing that anyone outside of that hotel could have done, period, in a sentence. It was, he obviously had been planning this for quite some time, and I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying, but he did for what he was wanting to do, he planned it perfectly.
I mean, it was a textbook military kill box, right? I mean, it was a textbook.
Right.
Yeah. And have y'all heard the story about the Marines that was getting people out? I mean, that tells you right off the bat that the guys that have been in the stuff before, they've been in this
are not going to go after them. They're trying to get the hell out of there also.
They knew exactly the play. They knew it was a Kobayashi Maru. They knew it was a situation where you get out and you get as many people out as you can. You survive. You don't try to respond. You just try to get out.
There is a lot to be said about survival, guys. And in that situation, it's all about surviving and helping as many people as you can survive.
Okay, well, let's change the subject then. Now, I think if Night Strike doesn't mind me hijacking his entire chat tonight, let's switch it from what gun would you carry to what would your response have been, right? Because maybe there's no good gun to fix this situation unless you're carrying a.
Go ahead, Carlos. You can be Smeggy for tonight.
I'm Smegster. But okay, so let's flip it. Like you guys said, what are the things you could have done, right?
You find cover initially, and then this is what I would do, and this is someone who's been in some shitty places and circumstances in his life. You find cover, you assess the situation, you help as many people to safety as you can, and once it's safe, then you start trying to formulate a plan. But unfortunately, in this situation, it was not safe at any point. So the best thing you can do is find cover, get to safety, help as many people as you can get to cover and safety, and survive.
Who out there, have y'all all seen the layout of this, where the building was, where the stadium or the arena was? Okay, you notice the entry for that arena is further away. So
Yes.
He freaked everybody out, started shooting, everybody panics, and they run away. They gave him even a better shot. So in my mind, I'm thinking what I'm doing is I'm moving closer to the building, over toward the stage, trying to find a form
I'm finding
of
the
cover.
stage, exactly, because the stage was not in danger.
Yeah. He's shooting people in that open area where he can see them. He's not picking people off. He's just spraying.
Again, cover versus concealment.
Well, exactly, cover versus concealment. But most people don't know the difference between cover and concealment.
Not only
They're just going to get behind a barrier, you know.
They didn't know where he was at first, especially at first, right? And also, he's such a high angle. A lot of things you think, hey, I'm behind this wall. Oh shit! Like he's 30 stories up, he can still see me. You know, so that was a tough situation to even find cover. I would think.
I don't know if you could find a barricade or find even the stage or anything else, and you could lay down. I mean,
that's right.
Like I said, anything closer,
at least get out of the line of sight. At least
anything closer to that hotel that was, 3, 4, 5 foot tall, you could have gotten up next to it and laid down, and he probably wouldn't have seen you.
That's right. It's not saying that's cover, but you're out of his line of sight. You know,
yeah, that's not where he's shooting. It's the thing,
right?
But yeah, you're right. You have to identify where it's coming from first. That's going to be the first thing.
Sorry, talking to my dog. Sorry.
We were talking about that earlier with the concert going. I don't know I haven't heard about, when the fire started. Was music playing when all of that started? Because if you're in a situation where you're in a concert, how long did it take people to even realize there were folks bleeding and dropping and getting shot before the music stopped, before you could even hear the gunfire?
Well, there's 2 points to that. First of all, they said that Jason Aldean was still singing 15 seconds after the fire starting, the shot started. Now, that being said, there's a whole nother aspect of this as well. Not only are you at a concert, but you're at a festival in Vegas. There's pyrotechnics involved with those concerts these days. So most of the people just thought, hey, this is part of the show. They probably didn't even realize it was gunshots until they said, well, wait, there are people hitting the ground here. They probably thought it was part of the show, pyrotechnics or whatever, explosions and all that. If they even heard anything, it probably wasn't. Their first thought was not, hey, someone's shooting,
Right.
Yeah, or it could have been a display from one of the other hotels.
There you go, fireworks or something,
That's like one of the bogus pictures that's on there where you see you've probably seen the cell phone footage from the camera that shows a much lower floor and you see flashes. And they're saying, oh, that's not the 32nd floor. Well, yeah, that's right, because what that is a reflection off one of the other buildings.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but yeah, you're right. I mean, that's,
Because we all know if he was shooting 223s and 308s, every one of those goddamn rooms has rugs in it, right? And there's no way somebody could clean up something like that without ripping the rugs out, because they'd all have melt burns in them.
Correct.
Well, and to the point of seeing the flash too. I mean, it's Vegas. I mean, like you said, it's a city of lights. This shit's flashing and making all sorts of crazy. I think it'd be a very hard environment to actually see what was coming from.
Well, and if you've never been to Vegas and you've never been to Mandalay Bay is gold reflective windows.
Yep. No, my brother-in-law got married there. I've been there. I know all the ground.
Yeah, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general. If no one's ever been there, that building is gold reflective.
Yep.
Everything's going to shine off that thing,
Yeah, man. I think if he shot out the glass, wouldn't it? I mean, it would look different, I would think.
Well, it would look different, but you also, and I think you even made the point earlier, is you're talking about a blacked out room with a window out of it, yes, but it's blacked out room at 10 o'clock at night, and you're also standing down on the street where there's a concert, where there's lights and all that sorts of stuff flashing all over the concert stage.
That's true.
You're not exactly having the best eyesight looking up at a window anyways. You're not going to be able to see from 1,200 feet away or whatever it was, a little bitty small black hole in a building that's been shot out. I wouldn't. I've got 20/10 vision. There's no way I probably would have seen it.
Right.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I would think it would be very, very difficult to spot that under the stress that you're in. because you're not going to want to stand there and try to focus. You're trying to not die to begin with, you know?
Right.
Yep. It's a no-win situation any way you look at it. It really was. There was a no-win situation for that.
Yep. And to be honest, you know, like most people are saying, there isn't a goddamn thing anybody could have done about it. Here's a guy with an absolutely squeaky clean record, no ties to anything, and he just falls off the wagon, you know.
Absolutely.
Well, and when you get into the response time too, and I mean, I'm not making excuses for 73 freaking minutes here, but you know, you got to figure out where he's at. You know, just because you know what windows are busted out, I mean, you can't start counting floors and room. You know, you can't go, well, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 floors up, and he's 4 rooms over, so he's in room, you know, 604.
Well, I'll tell you what, they could have at least identified it to a floor, because if I know those rooms are pretty good, but the sound of automatic gunfire, I'm pretty sure you could at least have nailed it down. You knew which side of the building it was on, and they should have been able to tell which floor it was, and that's probably how the poor security guard got himself shot.
There was one report that said that he set off the fire alarm, and that's how they found him.
Yes, because in that particular hotel, they have fire alarms where the smoke detector alerts the main console and says, this is what room it is. And that's how they figured out the exact room.
Wow.
So,
all right. So we're going to
set off the fire alarm. That's what got him?
Yeah.
That's what narrowed it down to the specific room, was the fact that he tripped the smoke alarm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if he had a tripod, you know, at or near the window, that probably would have brought a lot of the muzzle was probably through the window, so he wasn't getting a lot of smoke directly into the room, which is probably why it took so long. But even then, you don't know. One of the things you don't know is the police got the first call at 10:08. It took 72 minutes for them to explode the door down, but you don't know how long SWAT was screwing around getting ready to breach.
All right.
We just don't know any of that timeline stuff.
Yeah, so we're going to pause, and I got a question on the email side from our good buddy Jose. Hello, Jose. How's it going?
What's up, Jose?
He's asking, when do we start the panic buying? I
don't think we do.
I'm not sure we're going to have a panic buy.
I'm afraid it's already started.
It may have already started.
Yesterday, I was sitting on gun channels watching Matt's chat, and I was looking at SG Ammo, and their website crashed from traffic. It's already started.
Yeah, it may have already started, so it may already be too late, Jose. But
there's still ammo and shit out there. But do we need to panic buy? Should we panic buy? And is that the appropriate response?
I don't think the appropriate response would be panic buying. I think the appropriate response would be, you know, if you have to buy anything, if you need any parts or anything for your rifles, now would probably be a good time to get them, because you need them anyways. But if you don't need anything other than maybe just your standard ammo buying purchases, then just do that. Don't necessarily go out of your way to hoard ammunition, because you don't want to be that asshole that hoards all the ammunition and people get pissed off at.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, and we got don't get me wrong, we got an election coming up in a year.
I know.
But right now, there, and I've seen this, because the one thing that I did look at a lot yesterday, not today, but yesterday and last night, was, you know, legislators and things like that. And I mean, with the makeup, you know, yeah, the makeup is not favorable for pro-gun legislation, but it's not favorable for anti-gun legislation either. So, you know, we're going to be sitting in the same spot. I mean, we're not going to get anything good passed, but odds are we ain't going to get anything bad passed either. So if anybody goes out and starts panic buying, then that's going to be like a cancer. And then the next thing you know, ain't nobody going to find it. And there's no reason for it. There's just not.
No.
Not right now.
Don't panic buy. I would say just stick to your normal purchasing practices. You know, if you need stuff for your guns and whatnot, and ammo as well, just don't go nuts. I mean, if you go nuts, then you're going to be that one asshole that we all hate, that, you know, goes and hoards everything and drives the prices up for people.
Well, and worse than that, it's going to create a domino effect, you know?
Yeah. So, no, don't panic buy, just normal buy.
I was at my local Walmart tonight, and the ammo case was completely stocked. Both sides of it was completely filled to the brim. They got tons and tons of ammo. So I mean, and that was just this evening that I was there. So I don't think anybody in my neck of the woods, because when Sandy Hook happened, that shit was cleared out. It was gone except for 44 mag and 7mm Remington something or another. That was all you could buy on the shelf. Oh, and 40. Yeah.
When Sandy Hook happened, I paid $40 for like one box of 40s. I think I paid like $1 a bullet.
I mean, I need to buy. I'm looking for the best price for some bolt carrier groups because I need to buy 2 bolt carrier groups.
Oh, actually, those are on sale a couple of different places. I think Brownells has one, like nitrited on sale for like $70, dude, or $75.
I'm looking lower price because I saw PSA had theirs on sale for $59.
The PSA bolt carriers are really good, actually. I have one. I think they're actually debranded FN bolt carriers if you look at their market.
They're not. I talked to Dead Horse, and Dead Horse stated that the PSA bolt carriers, just the standard ones, not the nitrided ones, just the standard, I think the phosphated ones, they're just rebranded Toolcraft bolt carrier groups.
The Bear?
Yeah. And apparently Toolcraft is the one making the bolt carrier groups for the current United States military contract.
Well, either way, they're mil-spec.
Yeah, so
check Optics Planet also.
All right, but there's that. If anybody's got any questions out there on the YouTube side or even on the gun channel side, please just throw us a question. We'll try and get to it as soon as possible.
So. Mel wants to remind Night Strike that there's always cheaper than dirt.
Yeah,
Mel. Shame on you! Shame on you!
Instead of cheaper than dirt, we should all be buying from Right to Bear. They're a good.
I learned my lesson the first time. You do not have to berate me. You knocked that off.
Let's also remember that Mel's actually in Vegas right now and was there that night.
Mel was supposed to be there for a meeting in that area, and that shit went down. I had to email Mel and make sure he was all right. I know Travis made a video, but I wasn't just gonna take Travis's word for it because that he's got some questionable.
He's a chef. I mean, let's just be real.
Yeah, he's not a real gun guy. He's just a chef that plays one on YouTube.
Now, Scott out there is talking about the shot tracker system. Does anybody know if Vegas has that?
Obviously not.
Oh,
I agree with him. That's a damn good question, though.
I mean, that would have with that amount of firepower, you think they would have been able to pinpoint that easy had they had that.
I would think every time that they have, because there are several casinos along the strip that do fireworks at night and stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that would drive them absolutely berserk.
Oh yeah.
So I would expect that's probably not something that's set up with the volcano going off every now and then, and the guys firing the cannons on the ship up by Island and all that. I mean, oh my God!
Apparently, Midnight Range TM, other Travis, is angry with me because of what I just said.
Yeah, you guys see, hey guys, Mel's in the commentary with us right now. Did you see that?
Yes, he is there.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Did you guys? And the other thing, I hate to say this. Well, I don't hate to say this. I just want to, in the spirit of let's put shit in perspective. I was reading something the other day, and basically, as he said, "Oh yeah, 58 people killed." You know what they call that in Chicago? June. In fact, 80 people got killed in June and 70 in July, and
wow.
You know what I mean? So it's just the fact that everybody got shot all at once that makes the big difference.
Oh shit, Bill.
Thanks for bringing us back down to earth, Bill.
Well, but it's all, the whole deal is it was one guy, and yeah, he had the ability to do this stuff, but you could talk about all the gun laws you want. The bottom line is there's a law against murder.
Yeah.
And there's a law against mass murder. And laws are going to do nothing.
I want to mention this.
Hold on,
I want to mention this. So some people have been stating, I've been prodded for this because I like bump firing, and I enjoy doing it in the bump firing in the backyard. I'm working on trying to make a video of bump firing, but the issue is in order to do that, I have to use a lot of cheap ammo. I'm not going to use all my brass because I don't have that much of it left. But people have been, going and prodding me and saying bump fire is gonna get banned. So you stock up all you can on your bump fire stocks and whatnot. And I'm just gonna flat out say this: I do not think they're going to be that the left wing are going to be able to ban bump fire or bump fire type devices specifically because of this situation. I don't think so.
I hate to disagree with you, but let's talk about who decided that bump fires were okay. That was never decided by Congress. That was never decided by the Senate. That was decided by the ATF. And they said as long as one trigger pull equals one round going off, then bump fires are okay. ATF giveth, ATF taketh away.
And that can be a Trump giveaway.
All Donald has to do is issue an executive order to them saying, modify the restrictions, and you are screwed.
Donald doesn't even have he doesn't even have to do it. The ATF can do that.
Yeah. Well, okay, and here's my thing too. What really scares me about this is, and this gets back to our conversation tonight, is I think we all, as much as we can game it, and I think we all came to the same conclusion, which is Kobayashi Maru. It didn't matter if you had a rifle in your car or anything else. There was nothing anybody could have done to stop this guy in a reasonable amount of time. So unlike previous ones where he said, well, if only a concealed carrier had been in the room or blah, 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 it's hard to give something or to put something out there to placate those who feel like, well, we have to do something, right? We always hear that. Well, we have to do something now. And it's hard because this is such a no-win situation to make that, to fulfill their desire to have done something. And that's what really scares me about the possibility of legislation getting through. That's honestly my biggest fear. And like you said, too, Trump could give something away by executive order. Maybe he gives away echo triggers and bump fire stocks and all those kind of things that we think are fun now. And maybe he gives those away as a placation tool. Who knows? But either way, I think it's hard to get people to let go of their bone because we don't have a good counter argument because it was a Kobayashi Maru. It was a no-win situation. And that's why this is going to be a really hard one to fight off. That's my honest fear. I hate to say it.
And with the Speaker of the House backing off and showing his tail, because that's exactly what he's doing.
We've known that Paul Ryan is a little bitch for 4 years now.
But the other thing is, don't forget that Donald said during one of his conferences that gun laws will be on the table shortly. And that's scary.
So Mel the Nut has stated an interesting comment out there on the Gun Channel side saying, you can't make evil follow the laws. No, you can't. But we shouldn't let evil dictate laws in our government either.
That's the hard part.
It all comes down to the objective is to disarm the civilian populace.
And
it's not a logical argument on the left. It's not a logical argument on the progressives.
And here's the problem, though, isn't the fact that the Democrats are anti-gun and they want to disarm us, because we've known that the whole time. But if you have the mass majority of people saying, I think guns are okay, but what happens in situations like this are those people that maybe don't own guns, but they're like, yeah, guns are fine. I don't really have a dog in that fight. I'm not going to take anybody's guns away. But now they see this, and they don't own any guns, and they were going to take them away. But now they've flipped just to the other side. Like, you know what? Guns are okay. Maybe they can have their handguns, but let's take away their blah, blah, blah. That's the scary part. And that's what happens after these events, is those people get squishy. They don't have the convictions we do. Hell, they don't have the convictions that the anti-gunners do. They just kind of flip-flop around with the shitty stuff they hear on the news. Right? Those are the people that we need to be talking to as a community right now, saying, hey, this isn't the guns, guys. This isn't the guns problem. I'm not a mass shooter. My dad's not a mass shooter. Your friend at the range isn't a mass shooter. The gun's not the problem. It's the person behind the gun who's killing a whole bunch of people. And we need to find the people who are in the middle, who are the squishies, as some people call them. They're not real pro-gun. They're just whatever about guns. But their vote still counts, and their voice matters, and they still write their senators and their congressmen. And so we need them writing on our side and not the other side. So we need to be working about talking with those people. And we're never going to, flip the anti-gunners. If you have some person at work who's like, moms demand action, you're never going to flip that person. You just want the people who are in the middle ground to be on your side, right? It's like an election. You want the moderates.
I want to say this with all respect to everyone in this room, because I think we all know this, but I think the best thing we can do right now is not seek out any discussion on guns right now. Because if you seek out discussion on guns right now to someone who's not a gun person, they're going to think you as they're going to ignore you. They're going to think you as a heartless, evil person that all you care about is your guns. You're going to actually do worse for the gun community. If they want to seek you out and ask you, why do you have guns, then that's an open discussion because they're actually trying to engage in that conversation. But if we actively seek out just trying to talk to someone and try to convince them, that actually does more harm in my eyes for us right now, because we're just going to look at heartless idiots.
That's fair.
That's just my opinion.
I totally disagree. And the reason I totally disagree is because that means that the left totally controls the narrative. And they have absolutely no restraint. They have absolutely no sense of fair play, honest dealing, not lying. And if we just sit back and say, well, we might piss a few people off if we start telling the truth about what's going on, they're going to win anyway.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, Bill, is I don't disagree with that sentiment, but what I'm saying to you is if we go out and actively confront people that we know are anti-gun, trying to turn them off, it doesn't matter what we say. They're not going to listen to us anyways. Now, I'm talking individually. Now, as a collective national group of gun people, that's something different. But if you or I were to walk down the road and see someone that is anti-gun we know, and we try to engage them in a conversation about guns, they're not going to listen to us. It's doing us no good whatsoever on an individual basis.
But they don't listen to us anyway. Who cares? I'm not going to go up to somebody I know is obviously anti-gun and talk to them about this.
But that's what was said earlier. That's what I was talking about.
Guys like Carlos was talking about, the squishies, the guys that are, Metza guns, who gives a shit? Those are the guys I'm talking about.
Right. I still think at this point in time that if they're squishy, if there's no such thing right now as a guy who's squishy about guns. Either you are wanting to keep your guns or you're wanting to take your guns at this point in time. I don't think there is a squishy. I don't think there's a guy that's out there that says, I like guns, but I don't care if they take it away from me. Why would you have a gun if you don't want them to take it, if you don't care if they take it away from you?
I want to keep my
saying
guns.
Right now.
In fact, I want more guns. I want to have, as many bump fire stocks as I can. I want to have as many scopes as I can. I want to have all the accessories I can. Granted, I can't all buy them all at once, but I want to have options. And the minute we let them start banning stuff and start taking away stuff, we lose our options. And it gets to the point where they aren't just infringing on the Second Amendment anymore. They've taken it away. And if we get to that point, we will never get it back. We haven't gotten silencers back. Look at what just happened with, that one act. We haven't gotten machine guns back. We lost them. So
can I say something?
We got a rogue California. California.
My question is, how come every time, I said this earlier, how come every time we get closer with the SHARE Act, something happens? The shooting always. This is the second time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something. There's got to be something to that. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
There is so much shit about this that just does not add up. Why would a guy worth millions of dollars with his own plane?
I don't buy it.
But I just don't get it. It don't make any sense to me. But
right.
I will disagree, Ghost, because I don't believe there are just two sets of people. I don't believe there's I want to keep my guns and I want to take away your guns. I believe there's a third set of people that say, look, guys, guns are not the issue. And I want to make sure they have the facts that they need to hold their position and say, I'm not a gun guy, but I don't think you should take them away either, because guns aren't the issue.
Exactly. I want somebody so that when they hear I don't want to go and preach in a way that's combative. Don't get in fights with people about it. That's not productive. but I want to make sure that we've put our real information out there so that when they hear Rachel Maddow spew some shit on TV tonight, they go, you know, my coworker told me some shit. I don't think she's right. You know, I don't believe this bullshit they're selling on MSNBC or whatever, you know?
Okay, now hold up. We got a comment out there by Steadley. Steadley said, Machine Gun Vegas said they believe civilians probably shouldn't own those guns. Just come to pay to shoot ours and close for a few days after the shooting. Pathetic pussy.
Are you shitting me?
All I'm going to say is that's a company capitalizing on the situation and capitalizing on laws. Man. And people, I'll bet you right then and there, those guys that own that establishment, they're probably on the same side Yankee is. They own guns. They believe people should own guns, but they're not too far. They're not too. They're in the gun sense. They're in the kiddie pool, whereas we guys are in the deep end. Okay.
I will say anyone who's trying to capitalize on this is sick. Okay. Absolutely sick.
Machine Gun Vegas now officially becomes part of the same other two companies who shall not be named in Illinois. As far as I'm concerned, Machine Gun Vegas is in exactly the same category as those guys. Exactly. They're pulling a fast one to protect their own business and screw everybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's if anyone does any business there, stop it now. Stop it now. Don't ever go back. That's terrible.
Absolutely.
That is absolutely terrible.
That is selling out your own people for your own gain. There's nothing lower than that. Come on.
Okay, so now I have to say this on Hit or Miss because it is my chat. Fuck Rock River Arms, fuck Springfield Armory, and fuck Machine Gun Vegas.
I second that emotion.
All right, so
that's a sad thing. Every time one of these happens, I feel like we put another fucking company on the fuck you list. Like, come on, people. You guys are gun companies. You need to be fucking pro-gun. The fuck is your guys' problems, right? Like,
man, I'll say something too right now. I think we should send some money over to any Pro 2-way up in Vegas and the Nevada area because they're going to have a big-ass fight up in their hands.
They are.
And
I will say this. Oh, go ahead, Nice. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's the one thing that Bloomberg wanted to get in Nevada so he could make the West Coast wall.
Yep. That they lost their universal background checks on a technicality. So they are ready to fall and we need to help protect them.
Yeah, it's still like at least $5 or something, man. Help them out. Right now, California, we're fucked as we are, but they fucking need it more than we do.
I'll say this. If you have the ability or a way to get into SHOT Show this year, being that it's going to be in Vegas, this is the year that you want to go to SHOT Show. Let's make it an absolute. If you, like I said, if you can get in, if you have a way to get into SHOT Show and you have the means to get out there and spend some time, this is an extremely important time to go to SHOT to show. Let's have record numbers at SHOT. I mean, that would be a great statement to make. Hey, we're in Vegas. Let's do this.
Eventually, I want to be able to go to SHOT Show every year, but right now, I do not have the.
Oh, I get it. Like I said, if you have a way of getting in, which we all probably could get in if we wanted to.
I could probably.
But if you could get in, and you have the means to do it, go do it. Don't make any excuses this year. This is the year because it's going to be in Vegas. And this would be the year to do it.
We got one last question. I'm going to read this because it's from a longtime viewer and a longtime Gun Channels member. It's from Garand Grandman. And he's saying, or Garandman, pronounce it how you will. He's saying, tinfoil question. Could this be an orchestrated move by some of the leftists to derail any progress on Pro 2A legislation? And
what?
Yeah, it could be. It could be. But the issue is why
I would
one
disagree.
Of them agree to take the fall?
I want to answer that question with the question: what Pro 2A legislation have we seen so far?
None.
What are they trying to derail with it? Because we ain't got anything, and it didn't look like really anything was going to happen.
An argument could be made saying they're trying to prevent it from gaining any traction. and they pretty much, if that's true, not that I'm not saying it is. We're going down the rabbit hole on this. If that's true, they've accomplished it already.
I just want to
an extra dozen or so representatives signed on to the SHARE Act as co-sponsors within the last couple of weeks. Was it SHARE or the other one?
Shush.
One of the two just moved out of committee and was ready to be taken up for a vote.
SHARE was going to the floor. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Ryan watched it.
Okay, well, he had to though. I mean, let's be honest though. From a political,
no, he's just ballless wonder.
No, I mean, okay. I think he's a ballless
motherfucker.
But
well, let's also not forget that Paul Ryan is the Speaker of the House. This is on the Senate floor.
Right.
Technically, the Vice President has control over this right now.
Well,
yeah. It wasn't on the it wasn't on the schedule for the House anyway.
That's correct, because it has to go through the Senate first.
But here. Remember, Mike Pence is from Indiana. Okay, he's the governor of Indiana. Indiana is actually, if you didn't know, Indiana is actually a pretty pro-gun state. So, I would hope that Mike Pence would prefer to err on the side of pro-gun legislation than the opposite.
The whole point that I was making is let's not get all worried, and I even brought it up in mine because it's just I thought it was funny that he would come out and say that. But let's also remember that Paul Ryan comes out and makes a statement, doesn't until we hear Mike Pence make a statement that says it's not going to be in discussion right now, then that's when we worry. Because right now it's not even in the House. It's still on the Senate floor.
But from a politics point of view, let's just get this out there. If they had passed that off of the Senate floor the day after Las Vegas, there's just no way they would have been able to survive that backlash. From a political perspective, they need to let things blow over. And then
absolutely
right. And if they never bring it back, that's fucked up. But this week, next week, I'll give it a month at least. Let them stop talking about it every single day. Let it get out of the offices at work and off people's mouths, and then you can bring it back, right?
And from Ryan's standpoint, here's the thing: it's not like it was on the schedule on the House anyway.
Right.
So he's thinking politically. He's thinking, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out. And I'm just gonna say, hey, this is not on this isn't on the schedule in the House. Well, hell, it was already that way. He's just stating something that was already done. That wasn't like a decision he had made. And he's thinking if he says that, then as far as the opposition, okay, that pacifies them.
Yes.
Because they're too stupid to realize that, you dummy, it wasn't on there anyway. So he didn't really do anything. He just told you what was already happening.
Right. All right, so I think it's about time to wrap this up. Does anybody have any last minute comments they want to get in before I press the button?
Yeah, donate to me. Mr. Nicey's money.
I would say keep writing your congressmen and your senators. Let them know, have our voice be heard that we don't want anti-gun legislation. We don't want it. So keep writing them. Let them know.
Right.
Go ahead on it too, dude.
Melvin Nut says, fuck evil. Exactly. Travis, you got any words of wisdom to end with?
Me?
Yes, you're a teacher. You're a teacher. You have words of wisdom for all the little shitlins in school. So pull out some words of wisdom.
Just be aware of everything that's going on around you, and if something happens, just do what you can to do the right thing, man.
All right, there we go.
There you go.
All right, and with that, thank you all on the YouTube side for listening and participating in this chat. Thank you all on the Gun Channel side for participating and commenting on the chat and giving us some good topics to talk about, both sides. I hope to see you guys next week. So we will see you later. Take it easy. This was Hit or Miss.
Chocolate.
Shall not be infringed.